Okay, so I know I haven't made a video on this channel in a long time, but I wanted to. I mean, there's not really much to update in my life. Um, Still working at McDonald's, but anyway, not that that's a bad thing. Anyway, I've learned a couple of things since I started, and I wanted to drop some knowledge on my peeps. I know that sounds corny, but anyway. First thing I learned, and I guess I should I probably use the hashtag at the end of this video, TIL, which means today I learned. First off, I wanted to say thank you to my cousin Nick. He sent me the coolest snapshot because he works for Safelight, and he was out driving the Safelight truck, probably going to his next job, and spotted a freaking BMW i8 this morning and sent me a video of it. I'm like, thank you, Nick. And then something else I learned. I was watching, as you guys know, obviously you can see from my subscriptions. And speaking of subscriptions, thank you to my one subscriber so far. I will have to keep you updated, and I'm gonna try and get more subscribers. But I think it was the 4Motion all-wheel drive system. Most all-wheel drive systems, if you don't know, work like kind of like a traditional like rear-wheel drive gearbox would. You have a transmission and you have an engine, and a majority of cars are front-wheel drive, which means the engine is placed this way. You can't see me. Just kidding. The engine is placed this way, transversely, and the transmission is over here, and it drives the front wheels. And now in a rear-wheel drive car, you have an engine and transmission lined up this way, and back here is the rear axle. I forget what it's called. Anyway, excuse me. You have the the Ford 9-inch and everything else like that. I'm trying to let me know in the comments what it is, because I completely am blanking out on the name right now. But if you're a car guy, you know what it's called. The differential. That's the name I was trying to think of. It's called a differential, and it drives the rear wheels, and that's in most rear-wheel drive cars. And most cars, before they came up with the fuel-efficient, front-wheel drive model, were rear-wheel drive. Even like little Chevy Grocery Getter Chevy Novas, which they had back then, which were only and even things back then, there was no such thing as a 4-cylinder engine. Nowadays, you see them all over the place. And in fact, you see 3-cylinder engines. Engines are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And in fact, there's, electric cars and stuff like that. But anyway, back to my point that I was trying to make. There is most 4-wheel drive systems have what's called a transfer case in the middle. And they actually have two differentials. One is on the front axle, and it's a little bit smaller. And one is on the front axle, and it's located kind of like on the driver's side where a steering box would be, but maybe a little bit more over than the steering box, if that makes sense. And it's got a transfer case directly behind the transmission. And that transfer case allows you to, most of the time, if you're in 2-wheel drive, it's just spinning the back wheels. That's all it's doing. But most of them have most of them are shiftable. Like in a Kia Sorento or everybody's favorite, a Jeep Wrangler, you'll have a little shifter next to the main shifter that'll allow you to shift into 4 high, 4 low, 2 high, 2 low, and those are different gear ratios. Most of the time, the 4 high or the low is a low gear ratio for rock crawling, because you need a low gear ratio so you can rock crawl. And the 4 high, I'm not exactly sure what the 4 high is. Probably just if you need like higher speeds or something like that. But if it's in 2-wheel drive, you're only spinning the back wheels. If it's in 4-wheel drive, you're spinning the front wheels and the back wheels. That transfer case is splitting the power evenly between the back wheels and the front wheels. Now, if I'm correct, this VW 4Motion all-wheel drive system, what it does is it sends positively charged fluid or something like that back and forth between the front wheels and the back wheels. So it does it without a transfer case, actually. So that's pretty cool. And then in another video I talked about one time, long ago, there was I had mentioned the revival of a certain nameplate. I can't, like I said, let me know in the comments if you've seen my other videos and tell me what I said in my previous video or what I talked about in my previous videos about the different types of, or the nameplate that would be coming back out for another car. But I was watching the Up to Speed video on Donut today about the Barracuda, and I noticed something interesting. Dodge has bought the name rights back for the Barracuda and the Cuda, which actually, speaking of which, I didn't realize those were two separate models. There was just the regular Cuda, with a little exclamation point at them. Instead of the full name Barracuda, it was just Cuda. Cuda, with like a little apostrophe, that's the word. With a little apostrophe at the front. And Barracudas actually started off as like a trim package, like a lot of things. Like actually speaking of which, the Ford Ranger actually started off as the top level trim package for the F-150s or the F-100s. No, F1, yeah. Started off, and then Ranger came off and became its own type of vehicle. Same with the Barracuda. But like I said, Dodge has bought the nameplate back, so maybe we'll see some Cudas in the future. I don't know about that. So, alright, thanks for watching my videos. Once again, that Hodgepodge guy out.